Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Okay. You called this image awareness HEIC?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's there are four women in this. I don't know if it's a fake background or if it's a real background. If you're in a studio of sorts, four of the women are wearing this incredible, bright, beautiful dresses. That's you in the middle with a black dress.
Yes.
On three of the women is balanced a stainless steel or tin sort of metal bowl with fruits and pineapple and banana. It looks Afro-Cuban, if I can make a guess. Please take it away because this is like popping. What a popping photo.
Yeah. Isn't it a beautiful photo?
Everyone's smiling. Everyone's radiating.
Yes, so that is a real photo. That is in a real location. It is not
Wow.
a studio. Those are real people. You're correct. They're Afro-Latino, but they're in Colombia. They're in Cartagena.
Okay.
And so that's where I was. And these are beautiful women. Those colors are actually the color of Colombia's flag.
Yep.
So the yellow, the red, and the blue are the colors of Colombia. And so these women are amazing women. I was at a party, and that was my first time visiting. So I went and visited Colombia in September, and then I just got back 2 weeks ago, or a week ago.
Oh, wow.
From Colombia. So it's my second visit. And you will see these different ladies in the streets and the fruits in the baskets. They actually, for the first time, it was in season when I went a few weeks ago, that they have these they call them candies, but they're fruit. And I don't know I don't know if it's fermented, and they're different fruits, and it's so sweet. And it's like in a syrup. They had papayas, they had mangoes, coconut. So delicious. And so you can go to malls and they'll have different stands with the food and the fruit. And there's just amazing stories. And I love awareness. I love learning about other cultures. I love learning about people being happy. As you see, they're smiling.
Yeah.
And
Everybody's bright.
isn't it? So it's beautiful. I love conversation. So one of the things that was different for me in learning culture is I actually got my hair cut in Colombia. And just hearing that story of that store owner, she said she was a electrical engineer and they started 4 years ago. And she was talking about her hair journey, because I have curly hair. And if people have curly hair that's listening, it is a real struggle and reality of how to navigate through that. And so I went to a curly hair salon specialized in curly hair, and she was telling me her journey and how they started with 2 chairs. And here it is 4 years later, they have 8 stylish chairs in the salon. So I just love awareness. I love from different places, different ways to have conversation. And this makes me smile, right? And this ability. Yeah.
So again, just to kind of bring the listener in. So it's like the ground is like the floor is tile. So it's inside a building, and the lighting is it's cream colored walls a little bit. The 4 women are wearing these incredible dresses. They're so bright and lively and fun. And of course, the North American from Minnesota is wearing a black dress. It has an anchor.
It's actually a dark green. It actually is
Okay.
a hunter green. Yeah, it's a hunter green, and it's a brown belt. So it is a darker color. So yeah, but it's a green. At least it's not black.
No, but it's such a great photo, because what it is whoever is making the photograph was able to kind of inspire this honest, bright. So the moment must have been very light. So why don't you connect this notion of awareness, right? Because so the 5 of you are all super present, clearly. Why don't you make a connection of, because you tied it into this hair salon, the owner of this hair salon. So as a gift to the listener, how do you develop awareness? How do you feed awareness? How do you frame awareness? How do you make that the center of your life?
Honestly, living through conflict.
Okay.
I know that sounds kind of, but when conflict arise or differences arise in my life, I didn't grow up in Minnesota, by the way.
Okay.
I've been in Minnesota for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually lived in 7 different states across the United States, literally from all the way from the West Coast and the Northwest. I've lived in Washington State and Oregon. I've
Mm-hmm.
lived in Utah. So if you look at the United States map and you go all the way across to the other end in the East Coast, I've lived up and down the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia. And then different cities. And then living in those different places or looking at things or people, you say something different from a dialect. You're still in the United States,
Yep.
but you see these differences. Or within my own personal family, my mom is one of 10. I got 28 first cousins,
Wow.
right? And so when I would go visit them, they would like, "You're different, or you talk different, or you say this different." And those differences make me say, "Am I different?" Or kind of
Mm.
like what you said, "Has anyone called you a weirdo?" I'm like, "Absolutely," and I'm okay with that, right? Because that's your perception of me and not
Mm-hmm.
who I think I am. And so that's where the awareness comes from,
Right.
right? Of those differences, those wherever in the level within your own family or conflict or why can't we get along, I have to start with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to say, are they assessing me by their experiences or who I am? And
Mm.
then I have to determine, do I believe that truth or not? I can, when someone thinks of you, you can receive it or you can reject it. And
Right.
so that's where, or you can take part of it. I will take this part, but not this part. Thank you very much.
Wow.
And that's where I think it all starts from.
Yes. Yes. There's this notion that we're shaped really by our wounds, right? We're shaped by conflict. We're shaped by challenges. We learn a hard lesson, we get hurt, and that teaches us, okay, not going to do that again because that leads to pain. Or sometimes that hurt is a pleasurable one, right? Such as like when you hit 79 points, where you're like pushing yourself hard and it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
So you moved and lived across the U.S. quite a bit, and that shapes you. Now, as you go in the world, you have this identity, this sense of self that says, "Oh, I'm like this, and that's your kind of constructed mental model of who you are. And then somebody turns around and says, "Oh, you're a weirdo. You talk funny," or "Oh, you say weird things." And then all of a sudden, you get feedback from the outside world that says your self perception isn't the same maybe as what other people are seeing. So how do you get the strength to kind of impose or project your awareness to say, no, 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 hold on. You're saying I'm X, but actually I'm not even Y. I'm like 3.147, whatever it is. So
Right. Uh-huh.
how do you get that assertiveness to kind of be who you are?
Hmm. Um,
Sorry, my questions are a little bizarre.
no, I don't think I think that's good. I mean, I probably will be writing in my journal about it tomorrow. Um, no, I think, part of it is, I have to say personally for me is my faith, and my belief system of, of certain things. So I do follow a certain faith that grounds me, that says who I am and trying to think through that. So that's part of it. I do have a very strong faith in my belief within that. And I would say the other thing, I'll give honor to my parents,
Hmm.
and some of my heartache comes from them. I'm just going to be truthful as well. And then part of it is then spending time honestly and being okay with myself,
Hmm.
right? So there's parts of that, like, of where that grounding is. And I realize everyone doesn't have it. And that is why I want everyone to feel it.
Hmm.
And that's why I do what I do, really, and feel what I feel. I was actually today talking to a client, and I've been working with this company for a while, in coaching. So I do company contracts as well, and I do individual. And she was just telling me, one of my former clients at this company, of how she felt that she was different, and she told a story, and it made me feel good, right? And it literally was today. She said, Kendra, I had met this person before, and she said, I can't even tell you the transformation that I've seen in her. And she said, the situation that happened, I said, well, what? And I said, can you give an example? She said that they were in a meeting, and the person basically in the meeting told my client, that my former client, that she was not helpful or not worthless or they didn't need her. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wow. And she said, Kendra, if she said, I knew who she used to be. And she said, her response was, this is the value I bring. This is what I am. And I deserve to be here. And she was like,
Mm-hmm.
Kendra, I'm telling you, I knew her months before that. She wouldn't have responded that way. And it
Wow.
had to be through something and a confidence in herself. And so I think it's just by little things. She was an amazing client. She was one of my clients. I'll put her in the top three, that she came with notes, and she would be vulnerable. And so I think part of that is the vulnerability of telling the truth of how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I try to do for my clients as well. So awareness, there's this identity of where does that come from, right? Remember that person that I told you about? If you looked at her on the outside, the one that was doing a triathlon, not only did she was working to be a triathlon, she was a nurse. She also
Mm-hmm.
had dogs that went to special homes for people. So she had service dogs or
Oh.
comfort companion dogs. So this was an amazing woman on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But all of us, on the inside of us, she kept saying, like, we would start a coaching session. She's like, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, you hired me. Like, what
So
can I
why are we
help you
here?
with? And she
Yeah.
would say, why are we here? And it would like it went for weeks. We had a few sessions. And it would
Mm-hmm.
always start with, I'm good. I have nothing. And I'm like, why did she hire me? And so
Right.
finally I said, okay, how was your day? Did you hit your goals? No, that's kind of why she's like, no, I just can't swim. I can't get to my swimming done. And I said, well, why can't you get your swimming done? She's like, it's because the gym only has personal swimming hours at a certain time. And I said, okay, well, what are those times? She said, well, the times are this, this, this. And I said, okay, well, why can't you make this time? And she said, well, I have to walk my dogs at this time. Well, why can't you do this time? She's like, well, I'm at
Mm-hmm.
work at that time. Well, what can't you do? And so we went back to, I said, well, what can you do to change? And so as we continued to talk, we're going through, that was an easy conversation. And she said, well, I can walk the dogs. I said, well, who else can walk the dogs in the morning? She's like, I could
Mm-hmm.
do early morning. She's like, well, I don't have anybody else. I said, so you don't have anyone else? Well, I could ask you my husband, but I can't do that. And she kept talking. I said, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you ask your husband to walk the dogs? She said, because they're my dogs. I said,
Mm.
okay. Why can't you you didn't answer my question. Why can't you ask your husband to walk your dogs? She said, because they're my dogs. I said, you didn't answer my question. Why can't you
Right.
ask, well, it's my responsibility and that would be selfish. I said, has he ever told you were selfish with you and the dogs? She said, no. I said, why are you hindering yourself and your ability to ask your husband? And that's awareness. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we can't do it on our own. This is someone that was
Mm-hmm.
very strong mentally, that used to helping others, but she didn't know how to ask for help herself,
Right.
right? So sometimes this awareness, we need help that we don't know. Even the strongest people need help. And
Yep.
I think sometime in that awareness, we need to ask for help. And that's what coaching does. If people don't even know, like, what does a coach do? That's different. That's
Right.
an example of what a coach does.
Woo, what a trip. Okay. You took us on a nice ride there. That was great. So as you're saying this, I am aware and looking at this photo of the five of you. Looking, it's so
Mm-hmm.
bright, so
Yeah.
alive, so great.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think, I mean, somehow we have to jump from this to the next photo, and I'm really curious to see where
Right.
you're taking us. So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.